This is the Halls Road Improvements Committee, and we are waiting for folks to show up, but I was waiting to get that call set up, so we're not starting for a few minutes. 5:07. Come on, but I left it in the car. Fuck. Shoot.
Edie?
Yeah.
Oh, this
Hi,
is Ray. I'm on.
Hi, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
And just, you're making our fourth person.
Oh, good. Good.
No one else is here yet, so it's just us guys.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that's you did well in the zoning meeting to come out with just the two relatively small changes.
Yeah. We did meet with them again this past week, so I will talk about that. Unfortunately, with Dan Beret gone, we don't have any real help with him anymore, so that's a problem.
Yeah, well, from what Bill Sweeney says, that may be a mixed bag. In one way, it may
help us. Who knows?
Is that Ray on the phone?
Yes.
Hey, Ray,
yes,
how are you? It's Dave.
Hey, doing fine.
Yeah,
Hi,
good.
Dave.
Yeah, I've heard the same. So.
Yeah.
But here in the Northeast, I mean, you go down south, and urban planning and zoning majors are all over the place. Up north, you can't find a planner. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's a tough job. I mean, I know that like Chester and a couple other towns, local towns, they use one guy as a consultant, and he works because I got a hold of him because I was looking for something about Chester, and he said, oh yeah, well I represent this town, that town, the other town.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how do you do all that? Plus,
it's a ton, especially because the building process here, you have to go to the zoning enforcement
every single
officer
thing,
first,
yeah.
You know? So there's not enough hours in the day.
I know. I mean, when Dan was
sleepier
working, he was working on 8 million things. But
yeah.
maybe this guy only does zoning enforcement.
And the towns may be different in terms of building process and that sort of thing. Yeah.
So we're just waiting for Deb. She's
cool.
She's coming. And Howard it's his birthday, so he's out to dinner.
Okay.
He said, if you need a vote or anything, just let me know. And
I don't think, are there actionable items?
I don't think there are.
Yeah,
No. I think it's just get you up to speed.
Oh, I don't want
That's kind of broken glass.
Yeah. Don't want to sit
It's like,
there.
how the heck did they break that thing?
Somebody must have been pounding on the table.
Yeah, I'm really mad.
Happens in my house sometimes.
Okay, well, why don't we start? Maybe this can be a pretty brief meeting, I think, but
We got Ray on the phone, too.
Ray is on the phone.
Yeah,
Great.
I'm
We
here,
have a
Deb.
quorum.
Okay.
So let's call the meeting to order. It's 7 o'clock on the dot. And would we like to have a motion to approve the minutes?
I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. All right. So one other piece of business I'm looking for some advice on is I think we need to let Matt Merritt know we can't rely on him and we should let him go because it just causes the quorum question
Right.
Yeah.
to build.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like we have a required amount of people. It'd be nice to have another person or so, but it's like he hasn't been to any meetings in the last,
Right.
I don't know, 6 or 8 months. So
Yeah.
it seems like.
Have
does
you
he-
spoken to him?
No, he never answers me. So I think he's just real busy.
Yeah.
I've seen him at the gym, but not in the last.
Wait a minute, he's not that busy.
And he's got Sotheby's, his hat.
Yeah,
So I know it's
and
him.
he's got
so,
some other business out of town
Right.
somewhere, and
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's a great guy. I wish he could be here more often, but I just don't know that.
Right. Maybe if you talk to him. and
We're
say,
down to 7 people because Bud stepped down.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Do you want to reach out one more time, or do
Yeah,
you want
I'll-
one of us, another member, do it? I mean, Howard.
We could
or-
try that.
Yeah.
Just say, hey, what are you doing?
Otherwise, I mean, we kind of got to vote him off. And
Yeah.
We don't want to do that. you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even sure what the process is.
Do you have a mobile number for him?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you know what though? This is an appointed committee. So appointments, it's funky. We can't vote anymore.
You can't vote.
Right. Right.
And what's happened in the past, it's at the pleasure of the selectmen.
Okay.
Right.
So Tim should call, or
okay.
Matt, or
Okay.
Martha. That's the
right.
right approach.
So one of the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
could-
One of the Board of Selectmen needs to reach out, and the email can even say, if we don't hear back from you, it should, maybe it's a letter
Right.
to his house, because people don't get mail anymore, so you might read that. If we don't hear back from you, we're going to appoint somebody else. Thank you.
I know he talked to him last winter and kind of said the same thing, and he said, no, I'm going to be there.
Well,
He's just not there.
yeah.
I mean, and I think he's a good guy. I wish I could rely on him more, because he's also supposedly running the grants, which he's. I just found out there's a new community connectivity grant coming up that BSC is going to look into for us. So, but.
So probably the easiest way to make it happen, if you leave it with the selectmen, they've got tons of stuff, is drafting a letter and saying, here's a letter, can you send this with your signature or something?
Great. So if I put the letter together,
Right.
And then give it to Tim.
might mean it'll happen.
Yes.
Yeah, give it to Tim and
Yeah.
he'll sign it, and then, do all the work except for the signature.
Yeah, I
Maybe
hear
that's-
you. Okay, thank you, that's good advice. Okay, so the next piece on our agenda is a report on the zoning commission's informal review. So we had one review in June, and they told us, listen, don't do any changes yet, come back next month and we'll have some definite recommendations of what to change it to. So we came back. I had BSC and I were here for that, and they were like, "Oh, you want us to talk to you about what we think?" And I was like, "Well, that was how it was left." But they're like, "Oh, well, I guess because Dan isn't here anymore, he didn't round us up, and we didn't ever do that." So we did have a pretty good conversation about a lot of the reasons for why we're doing this, and we just keep explaining it again and again. But at the end of the day, I mean, there was at one point when Paul, the question of septic came up, septic and water, and in the original master plan, it was said that the beginning existing conditions question was, what about infrastructure for water and sewer, or septic, and they said, look, the property can handle a certain amount of this, and especially with more newer designs of septic systems. There's stuff that the DEEP has approved in Connecticut and other towns that are more modern. It's not going to handle, high rises with 400 units in it, so which is a good thing. We don't want that anyway. So, but Paul Orzel was like, well, I think maybe you should solve that. And I was like, well, we have got it in the master plan's existing conditions, and it's really not a zoning question, and nor is it the job of the town to solve this. It's the job of the people that own the property to work their way out of it. So he kind of dropped that and realized,
the only other, water, the WPCA would be the other place.
Right.
But you're right, it would be incumbent on whoever wants to build something.
And, we had to kind of just keep re-stressing that the reason for the overlay district is to allow new opportunities that don't currently exist. So right now we can only build 60 feet off the road, et cetera. So I think, after the conversation rolled along for a while, they began to grasp it better. And Jane Marsh said, okay, so just regardless of where any retail goes or anything else, as a commission, I'd like to just ask everyone here, do you have any major issues about the idea of having multifamily housing on Halls Road? Everyone said, no, we're fine with it, which was great. I was like, well, after all that conversation, you guys are in favor of this. That's good to hear. And then then Paul kind of closed the meeting saying, okay, and is anybody against having an overlay district? And everyone said, no, we're fine with that. So I think they're heading in that direction. Yeah,
they're heading in the right direction. Because I did talk with Tammy Tinarillo a little bit, and then Mike Miller. And Mike would... and I'm pretty sure you were going to do this no matter what, but he was also wondering what the purpose was of the meeting prior. So wait a minute, what are we doing here? It got explained, so he's okay. We're waiting for feedback from you guys. What he said would have been very helpful is a draft of all of what is being proposed. He had not gotten that. I don't know whether you...
Well, that's just not actually true. He got everything that you guys have all read, too. Everybody...
Did Mike get that?
Yes, everyone got these.
Okay.
This was sent out by Dan Beret for the June meeting.
For the June meeting, and nothing had changed.
Nothing had changed. They said, don't change anything.
Right. So, but then the July meeting came around.
July meeting, we had no changes.
Right. So, but people didn't have...
I think people didn't read it, to tell you the truth.
No, I agree. So what I'm talking about is the July meeting rolled around. Nobody had what you had already sent, just because they were unsure that they should have had it or reviewed it prior and that sort of thing. So I'll remind Mike of that, and then he can direct people to the email that you sent already.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm going to send it out
that
again,
explains
but
it. Yeah, he was like, it would be nice to have something.
It's hard. I mean, it's hard to hold on to things for over a month, but it was all done in the correct channels the way it was supposed to be done. And really, I didn't expect to send it again because I was told don't change anything.
So the don't change, but it is incumbent upon Dan to make sure that people are prepped for the meeting.
Right.
So it was a disservice
so it's
to you.
It's just the issue of Dan not being there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
His timing of his departure.
So just a reminder, and Dan is not here, so if we want it to go out, we can probably have, one of the secretaries upstairs can send it out or whatever it is, just as a reminder, hey, nothing's changed since June.
Well, and the way we left it was that we would make the two changes that were asked for in June, which was not to have a use variance is not allowed. So if you were asking for a variance because of use, that's not going to be allowed.
In the district.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that Jane had commented very early along in the meeting in the June. And the other thing that came up was the idea of having parking structures, which, someone said, well, what if you put a parking structure, along the highway? That would be a good use of a barrier to to the highway. I mean, we hadn't thought of anything about a parking structure.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be along Halls Road, that wouldn't be permitted, but it would be
Oh, I see.
allowed further back. So if that's something someone wants, it's, you know, or it could
It's
be.
explicit that it's in there.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know we needed to explicitly call it out as a parking structure. But those were the only two things that people had talked about.
And the next meeting is September, right?
Right.
They don't have an August meeting, yeah.
Right. So what I'm hoping to do is, from our meeting here, you know, those are the two things that we need to have BSC change, and they're going to do that next week. And then I would like to send it out to you. I can highlight those places where they're new, or you can just read it. It's not that long a document. You know, there's the actual HROD, and then there's the design review guidelines. So there's just two pieces to it.
And why don't we, because will we have a meeting in August or no? Is it contemplated?
Could. I mean, I'm around.
Maybe there's a special meeting and we just call in to simply approve whatever ultimately is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to get that approved among us, and then we can get it over to Tim.
Same as we did before. So because you've got their June meeting. When was their June meeting?
It's June 9th, I want to say.
Yeah, so right around when we met or whatever.
Yeah.
So we should definitely, if it's going to change, have a 5-minute call where everyone says yay or nay or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have read this, right?
Well, we approved it.
Yeah.
You know, prior to your.
So we have.
I mean,
well, other than those two pieces, you know, I want to make sure you read that, but you know, I don't think there's a lot. I mean, having a use variance not allowed is a good idea, because then we don't have, you know, someone wanting to put something in you don't want because they're saying they have to have a use variance.
Yeah, it's not objectionable, but just check the box so no curmudgeon comes out.
Yeah, so as soon as I get that from BSC, I will just email it around.
Yeah.
And we'll work with that, and then we'll get it over to the Board of Selectmen. And I think we presented this to them once already, didn't we?
I'm pretty sure we did.
I think we did. We just keep presenting it and boring the tears out of them.
Yeah.
Well, they've forgotten
but, you know, I
everything in it.
We want to have them send in this application in September, because that's when the zoning commission is meeting next, so they're not meeting in August. So that would be my aim. And I think we want to start it in September so we don't lose any traction with them not meeting. We can't really send it. I don't think we want to send it in August, because they're not meeting and they won't. No. If they don't have Dan to tackle them, they're definitely not going to read any updates.
But like a week before or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll definitely do it a week before.
Give them enough
September
time,
meeting. Yeah.
But not enough time to forget about it.
Yeah. It's hard. I mean, you know, I think especially some of the newer members of the zoning commission, they're not used to reading this kind of stuff. They don't even know what they're looking for, you know. Jane, on the other hand, has been there for 40 years, so she's like, okay, and this and this and this and this.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
And it's a little bit of her business.
Right. Yeah, she's a lawyer, and yeah. So,
okay.
But that, I think, is the plan for the HROD, and, you know, hopefully we will get it moved through. And I think just allowing something else to be able to happen is a good part of what we're making happen. And then I wanted to fill you in on the LOCSIP status. That's the big grant with the DOT. Rob, I'm forgetting his last name, from the VSC, has written a document which I will send around to everyone once I get it. I've seen a draft of it, and I asked for some changes in more detail because I didn't think it had enough, so they've been redoing that. We want to take it to Rob Harriman at the RiverCog, show it to him, get his feedback, see if there's anything else we need to do or whether it's ready to submit. And this is that kind of grant that may take 2 years to even get on the list to be looked at. Mm-hmm. But and then we need to start getting some, you know, political support for it once it gets submitted. So the hope is it'll be submitted early fall.
And just remind me, because we haven't talked about estimated schedule generally. So LOCIP grant, that's a grant process. But in terms of the design and just getting a better rough idea of what could be sidewalks and
Yeah, so
whatever else.
this locksip piece,
Yeah.
it's what the DOT will look at in terms of, they want, curbs, this type of curb, and they want this kind of striping, and they want this kind of lighting, and
But is BSC going to roughly cost that out in this same document?
Yeah, they're gonna look at it and say, this is a project we can support or not, and then they're,
No, but I'm just curious if we're going to do sidewalks, to wherever we think they should end, or whatever BSC has come up with.
It's not a detailed drawing, but it's much more detailed than the earlier stuff you've seen.
But so the drawing is the first piece of it, but the costing is most important. Like I would like to know now if we're gonna, because it is a drawn out process. If this is $1 million, maybe the town does it itself.
It's way more than $1 million.
I know, but order of magnitude.
Yeah.
If it's going to be $6 million, and I remember that they had laid out some big things and little things or whatever, then the grant is going to be important and all that stuff. But it also pushes off physical progress that people are able to see too. So maybe there's some stuff that the town pays for upfront to do.
Well, and I think there's that second piece, which is the town doing not the town, but the separate piece from DOT's purview is the trails and the bridge.
Right.
So those pieces, we just got that ARPA money to help with the design.
Yeah.
And we didn't get everything we asked for, but we got a decent amount. And I've asked, I guess the BSC, it's kosher to have the BSC help us with an RFP, which I was like, okay.
With an RFP, well.
They've done it for many other things that we've sent out, so I guess it's okay. But so the RFP is going to outline what this trails piece is about, and with a main focus on the bridge, because that's going to be the most expensive part to design and really suss out what you need. How do you build this? What kind of options are there to go for prefab bridge, and then with an option of a sort of a second phase would be to finish up. So he's saying maybe you make it from where the DOT sidewalk would come down in front of Hungry Goose, go off to the bridge, and then there is still a road already there on the old bridge road. So that might be the second phase of the design documents, because we may not have enough money to do all that with what we got from ARPA.
Yeah.
So
the award was?
I think it was $138,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So for the getting to the design.
Right. So and to me, once that bridge is in, people could walk over. They can do the walk they want to do.
Yeah, breaking it up into discrete parts is smart. Like I said, some of it may be, hey, the town is willing to do it. It's $1.5 million to do whatever. Yeah. So let's get that going. Yeah. But in the meantime, we'll wait.
We could probably have a few more work parties down on that little wooded lot and clear it up.
Every week we could have.
I know. I asked Tim the other day, could you get the crew to go and mow that for us, or do something to keep it cut down instead of growing over what we've cleared?
Yeah, wait till the Japanese knotweed gets in there, and then
the what?
Japanese knotweed.
Oh, the chestnut that's up in the cove.
It's everywhere.
Yeah,
and it grows
like a weed. Scary.
That's all the stuff that was behind.
It's coming up the river.
Yeah. It grows it loves slopes. So all by the lime.
And this much of a piece of knotweed could start a whole forest.
That's exactly right. Like in one season. That's crazy.
Right. Scary.
So, but we did this with, and I'm thinking about our recent experience with the senior center. Mm-hmm. We want to get some numbers out there and some rough, even if they're rough, so that people are kind of prepared for it and they can do whatever they're going to do with that number in their brain. Yeah. But we don't want to continue to go down this path without some rough idea of what the ideas cost themselves, even if we break it into 3 sections or 4 or 1, whatever it is. So you don't want to come out and then, hey, in 2 months we're going to have a town meeting about a $8 million deal. Well, we just did 40 some odd million for this and this, and it's starting to really add up. And then we got inflation on top of that. So the short point is if BSC can get us even the roughest of numbers with
Right.
the roughest of scope.
Right, and a phase 1,
Yeah.
2.
Well, they have done that, and you've seen those numbers.
I have.
So those numbers are, based on the length of what we're trying to work on and the typical costs for lighting and landscaping and, putting in new sidewalks.
Yeah, it's all going to get revisited, even if they just multiply.
It's going to change every time, we go another year, it'll be more money, right?
Right, but that's actually easy to change because we just multiply by, an extra 10%, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It used to be 2%. But building costs are always, the inflation factor is much bigger than
Right.
what the rest of the world is. So we do need to just have them revisit that
Update
and,
that,
and,
okay.
and thoughts that they've got on any changes to their design. Because I don't think that they costed out, I can't remember, I'll look back, but whether they did kind of the trail section. I don't know that they did.
They
may
did,
have
they had it in
plug-
a separate listing.
There's a plug number for the bridge, and anyway, I'll take a look and see what the old, and maybe what I'll do is I'll send an email to everyone, and but to you with copy to everybody with any suggestions I may have or
Sure,
may
no,
not.
that'd
They
be
may
great,
fine,
that
you
would
know.
be great.
And Edie, would the trails and the bridge be phase 1, sidewalks phase 2? And then do we have a revised timeline for all this now, or is it not?
The trails and the bridge are the part that's,
That are part of
I
that.
have a picture here somewhere.
And we got a big one right there.
Wait a minute. No, that was the last meeting. I thought I had a map with me, but I didn't bring it. The trails and the bridge are a separate entity, separate from DOT.
Right.
So, and then what you're calling sidewalks is sidewalks and all new figuring out the road and pedestrian lighting and all that stuff that DOT would do.
Right.
And that's something we can certainly put numbers on it because we'll need it for the locksip anyway.
That's right.
So,
And we did have phases.
yeah.
We had phase 1, and then maybe there's bike lanes as, phase 2, and then phase 3 is like parking and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So
and a lot of it's going to be, once they look at it and if they think, oh, this is a great project, it'll make us look good. I mean, this is one of the things they say at Rivercog. They're like, sometimes, they really grasp onto these ideas because they want a good, successful project that we're really proud of, So, like, great, let's use this as a guinea pig.
Well, they're randomly putting in a crosswalk
I saw that.
from the gas station to the Big Y.
They are?
I've seen it kind of marked
Have you
out.
just seen the marking on the road?
Yeah, but there was a full work crew out there.
Oh, there is?
Earlier this week.
Oh,
I
okay.
asked him about it, and he's like, yeah, I don't really know. I'm thinking to myself, the DOT, because I called Ed Adante about it.
Yeah, because
too.
I know that the BSC was over here, sort of doing a sort of light survey to figure out what we needed for the lot zip.
Yeah.
So I thought a lot of those markings were from their
It was a
review.
DOT work,
Right.
and who knows what it actually is.
Right.
It was a little
Big-
weird. And you don't know, and Tim doesn't know, so the DOT...
They
don't
they
know
have
their
their own agenda.
And I gotta tell you,
Yeah.
having talked about the sign, we got 4 signs down
Yeah.
out of like 800. But 4 came down.
More is more than nothing.
It's more than nothing, and including the one that was probably going to fall down anyway. But over a year, and it's like, guys.
I know. It's like,
so
patience is not my strong suit.
yeah. So my point being that DOT, I think historically has kind of run roughshod over Old Lyme, just because no one's taken responsibility.
And they have a lot of different departments within the DOT, so.
But there is one.
A sign guy or
the
something?
Waterford guy is the guy that is Ed Adante's contact. And so if he needs a new sign somewhere or wants to take one down, God forbid, which is what we talked about, that's what he talks to. So so it is a little bit structured.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's what.
Yeah, so I will make sure that I'm clear about, that money number is updated.
Yeah, and now that you remind me, and again, I didn't bring all the old stuff, but if they just revisit what they've presented to us, even if it's high level, so that you're not coming out of nowhere.
I think if they're applying for a grant, they kind of need to have some clue what
I'm sure that
what it's going to cost. And then the other thing I heard quite a few times from Kurt was, they're going to look at this and they're going to say either, oh, well, we're going to do the whole sidewalk, and, you can get your trail next to that, or we're not going to do the whole sidewalk, we're only going to do this part or that part, but, so it's really up to what they decide they want to do.
Yeah, I know.
So even when we get our costs down, it'll still be subject to change, but certainly we want it. I would think for the grant application, you need to have some clue on how much money it's going to cost.
I'm sure, yeah. But that is just the DOT portion. That leaves BSC's rough idea of the trails and the bridge, too.
And that's why I was talking to BSC about, are you talking, Ray? No. Okay.
No, I wasn't. I was on mute.
Okay. We're just blabbing away over here, and I might not have heard you. So, So I wanted to get the RFP going because, let's see something happen, and the sooner we can get a firm on board to do that drawing set, that will give us. And
then you've got something to work with.
Numbers.
You can subtract from it. You hopefully not add. It's probably like a wish list, but you can work with that. So that's all.
Now another interesting thing is we did have BSC draw an easement based on what Jim Grable was going to allow us to do.
Is this the next item?
Yes.
And so this is here's the Florence Griswold, here's Halls Road. And here's the bridge abutments right here, and this is Jim Grable's land all over here, okay? He originally was going to be fine with an easement here, and then he suggested we do a trail here. He doesn't like this trail at all. He doesn't want it there. I'm like, fine, let's forget about this trail right now. My bigger issue is getting this bridge built, so let's focus on this. And then he said, well, can't you just push the bridge over onto the DOT land so we don't have to worry about it? And I'm like, that's going to look so shitty.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. There's wires here. There's all sorts of stuff. I said, why don't we do this? Why don't we just table this for a little bit? We got the drawing. We'll get the design documents done, and they'll tell us where the bridge has to go. Because, if it's arched, and it's got to have, it has to be arced in order to get enough headway under here. And it also has to be ADA, so it has to be, really slight. So it may extend down to here. So even if we could smush it in here, which is stupid.
Right.
It's just come on, Jim, this is going to be like the cream of the crop of the town here is this bridge. So get over it, and this guy's going to make so much money when people can come right here to their restaurant.
Or it's just a lovely, even if you're sitting there, people are walking by.
Yeah, and I think he's worried about that. Let's just table that. If you want to put a pathway through here, that's fine too. We don't have to have them walking across the front
So the easement is not complete yet.
This doesn't bother me, but this bothers me.
But is this a done deal easement with him or not yet?
No. He basically.
Right. So this is.
So we're just sitting on this.
Right. We had to do this first. Hey Jim, we got to talk about something. So here's what we're talking about, and then he came back and he's like, well. But there is an existing easement for the DOT that ends.
See, this line to here is going over to Halls Road. Wait a minute. Halls Road is. Where's his drawing? It's way over here. Okay. So this is where the old bridge path went, like this. So actually, he's got parking and driveways and things
in the easement
in the middle of this. He's got it over here. Right? So this is.
Well, no.
So this is a bank.
The bank is over here.
What is
this is the Angry Goose.
Got it. Okay.
Because we were only looking at this parcel, but the bank is over here, and he's got driveways and things in here. So really, we can push this to here, so that when the path comes down to connect to the DOT thing, we can stripe it. You can have a landing spot before you get run over, and then you can keep going. So all of this land, and one of the things that BSC said was, let's ask him to ask his lawyer whether there's any restrictions about what he can or can't do on the DOT land. And he said, well, I talked to my lawyer. He said he doesn't think there's anything. I said, we'll find out in writing whether that's true. So,
you can do whatever you want in an easement, but if the DOT shows up and says, hey, get all your stuff off of our easement, then you have to.
So it's, this is the DOT land on this side of this line.
Okay.
Here, okay? And they own all the way to.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the shaded
Is his land.
is his,
And that
oh.
was what we wanted for
Yeah.
an easement, and we may still get this much, he just was sort of shying away from the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm not
And
surprised.
so I'm like, okay, well, you just
Yeah.
sit on that for a while. You know, we'll do some pretty drawings and show you what that
Yeah,
bridge will look
okay.
like, and decide you want it, where
Maybe
it
he'll
belongs.
think about it.
And, you know, so you could put a fence in there so you don't have people in your way, but.
I mean, that's all to increase people to his business.
His value,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, so
All right.
that's sitting, but it was done, so we got that far, and, that's all I have to report.
Okay.
Okay. So action items, I'll take a look at what we have seen in the past.
Yep,
From,
okay.
And I
Okay.
doubt I've got any other comment than, hey, can BSC just update that page? Now that you remind me of it, I think they had one page that had
Yeah,
the various
yeah,
pieces to it.
yeah.
Just to rough that out. And then I'll remind Mike Miller too and tell him that they'll get everything before.
Yeah, it was sent out.
September. It was sent out. And then Tim's letter for Matt.
For mine, yep, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good.
I was going to
Ray,
make a
you got
motion
any-
not
any-
to have a meeting in August, but I guess not.
Well,
Well, we could do it by phone or something,
Okay.
you know, I mean,
Yeah.
we could, you know.
it's perfunctory. And we can figure out when is good. If you can't do it at all in August, we'll just figure out when.
Do you go away, or
Well, yes and no.
busy with the
Right,
summer, right?
right.
Yeah, so if something crops
Most
up.
people
You don't
are,
want,
yeah.
you don't want to forget about it, but.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but let's do it telephonically.
Let me get this thing ready to roll, and I'll send it around, and then if we want to have a quick phone call, like a group call,
Right.
we could
Or
do
if it's going to
that,
be like
or
a half
Zoom.
hour or something, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Or, and then Edie, at some point, if it, and I don't even know if it can be done like this, but just the phases, and phase 1 is going to cost $8 million. Phase 2 is going to cost $13 million.
Right.
Something like that I think is just
Just so you can
really
get a sense
easy
of it.
for people to look at and say, okay, we're doing this in phases. And I think way back when we talked about phases and doing, you know, the part closer to the flow grid first because that's the one that needs it the most or
Yeah,
most manageable,
yeah.
most visible.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's possible at this point.
I'll pull up what BSC had presented like 10 months ago, or whatever it was, because I think.
Yeah, because they did.
Jogging.
I know,
they
I
did
probably
break
have
out
it in
the
my
trails.
file.
I know they did
They
break that out.
definitely broke out
And
the
they even put a
trails.
big number on the bridge, and, you know, I mean, I'm hearing from Jeff at BSC that probably the best way to deal with that bridge abutment is to actually put in new little piers
Yeah, I'm
and
sure.
send it across and not try and interact with those rocks and stuff,
Right.
because it's
Right.
probably going to be beyond it anyway. So.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, I mean, we'll.
Which is nothing crazy.
Sadly, they're not like 12 companies that make portable bridges or, you know,
Or plop in.
prefab bridges. I looked into it a couple months ago.
Well, not what you're talking about. Box bridges are.
Yeah, well, those are
that's-
ugly. Yeah, yeah.
No, but that's not what we're going
No,
for. We wouldn't do that.
no.
Box bridge is what you would do at Grassy Hill for a lot less than $1.5 million.
What's the box bridge?
A box bridge.
Truss bridge, like it.
Oh,
it
okay,
goes like
okay.
this.
Yeah, but it's a box,
Okay.
a rectangular
Yeah,
box
no.
that over a weekend, once you've demolished
Yeah,
the
it's
old
like
one.
Army Corps of Engineer.
Yeah,
bridge,
if the piers are good, you plop it in and you pave it. and
Okay.
you're all good. It's very utilitarian.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Okay.
yeah. I mean, it's an 80-foot span, so.
Right.
it
And
has
this
to
is
have
not, no, it's not historic district.
No.
No, it's not.
Just by that
much.
Oh, we wanted to look at it.
I know, but you want it. So it would be nice if it was like a period kind of,
Well, yeah, we're
Bridge
going to try
kind
and
of
make
thing.
it look as good as
because
possible.
you know the flow grids will want, and you'll have all the input from
Yeah.
all the
yeah.
art
I mean,
people.
I think we did show some drawings of different kinds of bridges that
Yeah.
were out
Right.
there in some of our earlier presentations, so that.
Yeah, I remember that.
that's what we're aiming for, the actual Bow Bridge that was there was really not a very pretty bridge.
I was going to say the bridge that I'm thinking of over this river in Long Island is not very pretty, and it's
It was a bunch
looking.
of pilings in the river and this kind of trussy kind of thing underneath.
Yeah, no, this one was wrought iron. It's very ugly looking. Nobody goes on it.
Yeah.
Just there.
Okay, so Ray, do you have any comments to make?
No, I think that it's just amazing that we, are moving along at pace. At least I think it is compared to my, previous few years with this. So I think it's just huge that we are on the verge of being able to, as Dave says, lay out for the town that, here's a plan. It may take us some years, but it might cost us some money, but we've got some progress to report. So I think it's just tremendous, Edie, and I really appreciate every beaucoup hours that you spend on all these things and keep them moving. It's really great.
Between other things, we get this part done. So.
Yeah,
cool.
Well, I don't know. It seems full-time to me. Okay, great.
All right. Do we have a motion to close the meeting?
I will make a motion.
I move to adjourn. Yep, second.
Okay.
Second? Yep.
Okay, good.
I'm in favor.
All in favor?
Good. Nice
Thank you.
done.
And it's 7:35. We're doing good at these fast meetings.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
Speed dating. All right, Ray, we will be talking to you.
We'll see you, Ray.
Thank you.
Take care.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Deb.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.